you look at what is coming in our topic of discussion this particular hour, we are going to take a look at what is coming in from the world of logistics, and pretty much a very sensitive topic there.
I do understand that, but wouldn't you want to take us through e-passport before even we go for logistics? Because this is good news that is going to be coming to both straight. But before that, let Joram take us through what is the latest information regarding e-passport.
All right, here we've got the latest information regarding the e-passport. The driving licenses and other security documents will soon be produced within the country, and this is according to a plan by the ministry, that is the Ministry of Works and Transport. And Winston Katoshabe, the Commissioner for Transport and Regulation and Safety in the Ministry of Works and Transport, says that once the Uganda Security Printing Company factory in Entebbe is complete, all the security documents will be locally produced. The Commissioner announced this at a function to assess USPC's performance since it started its operation in Uganda a year ago. That is the Uganda Security Printing Company. And it's a joint venture between the state-owned Uganda Printing and Publishing Corporation, as well as the Veridos GmbH, a German firm established to run the Uganda driving licensing system. It produces and issues secure, world-class computerized driving licenses. It is also responsible for the issuance of e-passports. Lavret von Baren, that is the USPC's finance director, says that the production line will cost 41 billion shillings, and the construction work is expected to start a few weeks from now.
Okay.
So when you look at the situation, he adds that in the first 8 months, they expect to have completed 2 production lines, one for security plastics like driving licenses, 2 national identity cards, and another for paper with security codes like passports.
Unless we've got to follow up now, because you know there are a lot of questions now are reigning in my mind regarding the e-passport, because I do understand the Ministry of Internal Affairs is ideally considerable here in producing the electronic passport. And when we see the other company that has been, designated to do that, some questions are laying there. But we'll be following up with that one. Now back to our topical discussion on a day like this. We've got great news on the progress for the Gulu Logistics Hub. In case you do not know this, it sits around 24 hectares of land around Gulu, and this land is provided by the government of Uganda and Uganda Railway Corporation to make sure that trade is boosted in the northern corridor, because it is one of the routes that is actually also transmitting a lot of goods, connecting borders from South Sudan, crossing over around a Lego-Nimule border. And also, speaking about that, the exchange of goods will be happening around Gulu Logistics Hub. For more information or for more detailed, I happened to interact during with Michael Ojatum, who is the manager one border post from Trademark East Africa, because Trademark East Africa is one of the entities spearheading this particular project with its other partners like EU. But let us now dive into what we got for you in regards to the progress around the Gulu Logistics Hub, and what hope does it bring to trade and also trading coordinations around East African bloc and African continent. Hello, how are you doing on a day like this? Did you know actually managing cargo, managing logistics, at some point it doesn't come with ease around major countries, and which is why we're seeing trade barriers not only here in Uganda continues to be a bigger challenge. But when things are mitigated, things are trying to be out progressively, and we see success and progress with the business community. Now, people from northern Uganda, I'm speaking about Gulu region, are rich with the incoming or with the progress of the Gulu Logistics Hub, which is spearheaded by Trademark East Africa, making sure we manage and control logistics and cargo around there. We're going to discuss more on how and even why do we need a logistic hub or a logistics hub around this particular region. My name is Rita Kabanyoro, and to dive us deeply into this discussion is Michael Ojatum, who is the manager, One Stop Border Post. Thank you so much for joining us here. If you could kickstart it by sharing with us, do I even need a logistic hub as a business person? Does the country need a logistics hub?
Currently, importers and exporters of goods in the north of Uganda, some parts of eastern DRC and southern Sudan, once they have cargo destined to the north, that cargo most often is cleared through and out of Kampala and later picked for distribution into northern Uganda, the eastern parts of the DRC, and to some extent southern Sudan. So that adds a cost onto business for people who import and export out of the north, and the cost to business reduces. So if a cost is added onto business, that means the profitability of the businesses in the north is reduced because of that additional cost of transporting goods out of Kampala to the north. With a logistics hub in Gulu, and that will be the only hub in northern Uganda, you will find that all the cargo destined to the north of Uganda will be cleared at Gulu, because customs presence will be is also going to be present at Gulu. So all cargo that goes there will be cleared at Gulu and distributed to the various points of need at Gulu. So that's one of the reasons why we thought it necessary to have a logistics hub at Gulu. So that hub will also act as a regional distribution point to cargo going to southern Sudan and to the eastern parts of DRC. So it will help decongest the traffic and the clearance of cargo out of Kampala and Jinja, where that is currently being done. So that's the other reason why there was a need for
the logistics hub. What comes or what expectations come along with this particular Gulu logistics hub to the people of Gulu towards accomplishment, especially in the northern region? Then after that, take us what it means for the entire country.
The hub is currently being constructed at the Gulu railway station on land approximately 24 acres belonging to the Uganda Railways Corporation. So the Uganda Railways Corporation offered their land at the railway station for the construction of the hub. Progress-wise, I think as of end of February, we had moved 2022. We had moved at 95% completion of all the works done on which we're meant to do at the hub. So what are the expectations for people of northern Uganda? One is that, because cargo goes directly to Gulu, there are going to be reduced barriers to trade, because from studies done, it shows that a 10% reduction in tariffs along a transport corridor can lead to increased trade by more than 50%. So a reduction in barriers to trade is going to see an increase in trade in that region, importantly. So the hub is also going to lead to the increased capacity of the transport infrastructure in the northern Uganda, as I said earlier, to serve the markets in southern Sudan, in northern Uganda, and the eastern parts of the DRC. That's the other expectation of of the hub. The other is that the north being a rich agricultural area, specifically in grains, in simsim, in sunflower. Those are mainly in Uganda, produced in the north of Uganda and exported to the rest of the world. So it's also going to lead to an increase in export volumes out of the north. So with increase in export volumes out of the north, that means that's an income to the people, to the farmers, and to the traders in northern Uganda. Okay. So in a nutshell, increase in trade will lead to an increase in incomes, will ultimately lead to the government objective of reduction in poverty in that area. Because once you trade and an income, that means you trade yourself out of
the poverty line.
Yeah.
And I saw Trademark was advertising for private players to come on board to try to also add on to some of the activities there. If you could highlight for us, what are the duties of a private player towards the Gulu Logistics Hub, and what kind of private players were you wanting on board?
See, the Gulu Logistics Hub, on the concept note, is going to operate on a PPP basis. That means on the public-private partnership. So that means the infrastructure built currently will both generate revenue to the operator, and also some of it is not going to generate revenue to the operator. So with working with the PPP committee, after the construction of the hub, when the hub becomes operational, we'll engage, URC, who is the lead, who are the landowners, and who will ultimately be the landlords of the hub, is procuring a private logistics operator to operate and maintain the hub. And that could be in discussions with government of Uganda, especially the PP Committee of Finance. Initially, the operator, I think, has a time frame to run the hub of about 15 years initially. Once he makes profit out of aspects of the hub that are profitable, like the warehousing, where he will charge fees, and container yard where he will charge also fees, that income he gets, the profit he gets out of that is supposed to be reinvested into the expansion of the hub. Because if you find the construction of the hub was phased. Phase one, we did the core infrastructure, including the warehouses, the administration building, the railway siding, the railway station building, the container yard. Some of those investments make money. Like the warehouses make money, the container yard will make money because fees will be charged. But the others, like the admin building, the railway siding, the police station, the station building, do not make money to the private investor.
What capacity are we looking at here? And from there, if you could as well share with us an insight of this particular hub towards the implementation process, the target group that is being targeted here. Could it be that even a RITA can, just go set up a facility there, or I can pick my goods from there? Which particular entities, groups, maybe countries are going to benefit here?
The logistics hub, traffic-wise, is meant to handle about 30,600 TEUs. TEUs are, to a layman, 20-foot containers per year. That is from the feasibility studies done. So those is what we estimate to be going through the hub per annum. That cargo that goes through the hub is meant for various target groups. We have importers importing out of the north, Southern Sudan and DRC, exporters also exporting out of that region. We have government of Uganda, the ministries, departments, and agencies who are vested interest in the hub, and then we have the private sector players the logistics players, and also traders. Traders who trade out of that region, and people who consolidate cargo. You can be a farmer who produces an example like maize, and your maize may not be able to fill a container load once you receive an export order, but you can consolidate your cargo with other maize growers or other simsim growers or other beans growers in that region and make up a container load for export to the rest of the world. So those are, I think, the major groups. So the hub is meant to have. Like if Rita is an interested player, okay, Rita can be any of those.
Yes, please.
And she can also be beyond that. She can also be a local trader who receives goods out of the hub.
And I heard you mention about majorly people from the north, traders from the northern corridor. How about the other sides, like the west? Are you planning to set up the same hub in your trade back infrastructure plan, or there is this opportunity is actually taking cross linings?
The north of Uganda does not have any hub at all. That is why this hub will be an opportunity to open up a hub in the north of Uganda. The other parts of Uganda have close to same hubs. If you come to Jinja, to Kampala and Jinja have a lot of them. So the central and the east have hubs already. The west, Mbarara has an ICD run by private operator. An ICD is an internal container depot run by a private operator, such that goods destined to the Mbarara area transit directly from point of entry to Mbarara. So the other hubs the other regions in Uganda, on a comparative basis, have already hubs in those areas, except for the north of Uganda.
At least there is something now that you can tap opportunities to and fro in regards to selling and buying, because there is a lot of jobs, I tend to think. So you need to take us through that. Now, if we could look at the details of the projects in regards to value on improving trade. How is this going to improve trade?
Before I come to that, I think there's an area I think I missed out. You had asked me on the implementation plan earlier on.
Yes, please.
So the implementation plan, that's the construction of the hub and the associated studies is a 5-year project, which began in December 2017 with the signing of the delegation agreement between the EU and FCDO, just to fund the hub through Trademark East Africa. After the signing of the delegation agreement between the EU and FCDO, we did pre-feasibility studies just to confirm the viability of the hub. So that was done, and then because the hub involved the construction of facilities, we had to hire the services of a design and supervise consultant to do the designs, have the designs approved by the local authority, that is the Gulu City Council, and then also hired a contractor who began the construction of the hub in March 2020. To have the hub operational, we are now procuring the services we procure the services of a transaction advisor whose main role, among others, is to procure an operator, concessionaire for the operation and maintenance of the hub. And
you asked me before you cross to my next question, let me pause another there. If you could share with us the time given of the construction and when it will be ending, tell us what extent is it now, when are we expecting a handover? Just let us exhaust that very there.
The construction of the facilities at the hub, precisely the construction of the container freight station, the warehouse and inspection shed, the administration building, the the railway siding and associated roadworks, pavings, gate houses, the police station, and the URC station building began in March 2020. The construction duration was for 18 months, so it should have ended in February
22 or 2021?
No, 18 months out after March is about August.
Last year,
2021. But because of compensation events and force majeure events at the project site, such as COVID-19, which impacted on mobilization and deployment, specifically of machinery and personnel at the project site, because you realize that we went through 2 lockdowns, and the lockdowns affected progress because the government of Uganda, through the Ministry of Health, issued what you must follow at construction sites in order to avoid the spread of COVID. COVID mitigation measures for construction site, and one of them was social distancing. So because of social distancing, you cannot employ as many people as before. So that was a force majeure event at the project site, and also because some section of land was not acquired in time, because the responsibility of government in this project was to acquire land. Even where the land belonged to URC, there were squatters that occupied it because of insurgency in the north. So part of a section of land was not acquired in time, and because of that, we did extend the construction duration by 120 days to the end of March, end of March 2022. So we have so far, as at the end of February, we have accomplished or progress to 95% of the works. That's a huge one. So we will be able to complete the works within the extended contract time up to the end of March, and technically hand over the project to the employer. Okay. In this case, who is the Minister of Works, represented by the Works and Transport and the URC in April.
Okay. Now you could share with us, how is it going to be improving trade in the country and on the East African bloc?
As I said earlier, the main rationale for the construction of the hub was to reduce barriers to trade in that area of Uganda, and also improve the increased capacity of the transport infrastructure in northern Uganda to serve the markets in the north of Uganda, in southern Sudan, and in the DRC. From our studies done, once the hub become operational, we estimate that on average, the truck savings for trucks that are consigned directly to the north of Uganda will be about $400 per day per truck.
Per truck, contributing $400.
Reduction. So that translates into, if you multiply that by the number of trucks we estimate to use the hub in a given year, as I said earlier, about 30,600 trucks per year. Probably you'll come to a saving to the transporters and to business of close to about $131 million. $131 million.
That is annually.
Annually, yes.
Okay.
If you estimate that from studies done that each truck that goes concerned directly to the hub saves on average $400 a day, times the number of trucks we estimate to be using the hub per year, you will come close to about $131 million saving to the transporter, which savings most often is reflected into the price, into reduced price to the consumers and the end users of the goods and services transported and cleared through the hub.
Okay, at least we've had.
And then beyond that also, because most of that traffic is not going to pass through Kampala, you will get that you are going to decongest traffic out of Kampala and Jinja. And once you reduce the jam in Kampala, because those trucks are not going to pass through Jinja and Kampala, that means you also make a saving to the travel times of people in Kampala and Jinja route. So that saving, in our studies, we estimate that will come close to about $17 million for the lifetime of the project. So we estimate the lifetime of the project to be about 15 years. Also importantly, to the local community, the hub is going to offer employment. And employment has multiplier effects. When you're employed, that means you can earn an income. Out of your income, you can pay tax to government in form of pay as you earn. That money, the revenue government gets can help in the provision of services.
You can as well sustain
your family as well. Yeah. So there are many multiplier effects out of employment. Even associated with the services offered at the hub, people can have restaurants, lodges for people who will be using housing, for people who will be using the hub. Okay. So importantly, you have a look at the employment and the multiplier effects of employment for people who are using the hub. So those are, to us, are some of the benefits that could accrue once the hub becomes operational.
Are there agreements in which, or situations in which there is going to be trade done at the logistics hub in terms of exchanging, for example, containers? Container can come from Jinja, for example, and wants to be exchanged from Gulu to cross borders. Is that going to be happening? Can people do direct exchange of containers around there, or exchange of trading facilities?
Okay, the hub, because the hub is going to receive goods, and goods most often are transported by containers, either sealed containers or open wagons.
Yes.
Because also the hub is also, for parts of your information of the public, the hub is going to also be served by road and rail. The EU is currently doing rehabilitation of the railway line from Tororo up to Gulu. So the goods that come by rail are still going to be terminated at the hub, and those can come in open wagons or closed wagons. But once the goods arrive at the hub and they are distaffed either into the warehousing, or broken, or bulk is broken, that means some goods can be loaded from the hub for export into the rest of the world. Also, there could be empty containers that you brought in goods and then you don't have cargo to return from that area back to the origin of the containers in the port. So those empty containers can be
reloaded.
Can be reloaded onto the means of transport, either road or rail, and transported back to destination, either the Port of Mombasa, Dar es Salaam, or to container depots in Kampala. So to us, that is how trade and the exchange of containers is going to happen at the Gulu hub. Yeah.
Thank you so much. And we are soon concluding our discussion on the Gulu Logistics Hub. Let us now speak about what more is Timea Trademark East Africa doing to improve trade across the country.
Timea, I think has done a lot to improve our trade in Uganda and in the region. Chief among our investments is I think we've invested in three thematic areas in trademark. The first one is the access to market. What we call the physical access to market. That means we build infrastructure suitable for trade, for the enhancement of trade. So the most we have built in Uganda, I think we have built 5 OSBPs. OSBPs are one-stop border posts, where traffic stops in one direction, stops only once in either direction of travel. For example, if I'm a traveler or I have goods going to Mombasa as an export, before the investment and operation of OSBPs, I would stop on the Ugandan side for the conclusion of export formalities in Uganda. Once that was done, once I'm cleared by the authorities in Uganda, then I go and begin the import process
From
in
the
Kenya.
other side of Kenya.
Yes. So right now, because of investment and operation of one-stop border posts, that means you stop only once at the destination country for clearance by the border authorities. So in the same case, if I'm exporting to Kenya, I'm exporting like coffee to Kenya. That means I do my documentation at source. On arrival at the exit border in Uganda, assuming I'm exiting through Busia, for example, I drive straight to the Kenyan side, where Customs and Immigration of Uganda will clear me. And then once I'm cleared, under the same roof, I will get officials of Kenya Immigration and Customs who will clear me. Then I can continue to the port of Mombasa. So that's one area I think we have invested in. We have invested in OSBPs, and then beyond that, I think we have had investment in what we call ICT for trade. ICT for trade are enhancements we have done with partners to automate their processes and improve the speed at which transactions for business are processed. Chief among the investment in ICT for trade, if you look at the URA, we have invested in what we call the regional electronic cargo tracking in partnership with the URA. That means that if you have goods that are in transit, either into Uganda or out of Uganda, and they are high-risk goods. Originally, URA used to hire the services of either the army or the police to escort physically those goods. Now, with automation, all they do is to attach an electronic seal onto the vessel moving the goods, the truck. So they attach the seal, and that seal is monitored centrally in a room. And then at any one time, they can know where
the goods, the progress there
is until you reach destination. Then the seal is disarmed and then sent back to the orientation on confirmation that the goods have reached. So that's the other. The other we have, I think, also done with the URA is what we call authorized economic operator. In business, sometimes if you are compliant, you are rewarded for your compliance, in that you don't have to go through all the process an non-compliant trader would do. So the authorized economic operator program we are doing with URA is a reward to compliant business, in that some of the benefits include that if you are a trader who probably runs warehousing, runs warehouses, most often if you're not compliant, you'll require that your warehouse is run jointly by you, the trader, and by your office attached to your warehouse. But if you're compliant, you can run your warehouse at your own pace. So you will just come and do periodic audits just to confirm that you still maintain the compliance.
We have had trade barriers around border posts. A case in point when we had truck drivers striking to bring into fuel in the country. I don't know, did you play a part? How did you partner with government? Or in case of trade barriers, how does Trademark partner with government to make sure these are solved, not taking so long?
Okay, Trademark under a program we call Improving the Business Environment, has partnered with government of Uganda in many ways. If I take an example, at the time of COVID, Trademark did provide personal
PPEs.
protective gear to the border agencies, and to including both people who work at the borders, the URA, immigration, security, including truck drivers, just to keep the supply chain open. So one way we did was just, as I said, in summary, was to provide PPEs to the border agencies so that they can be able to do their work with minimal risk of getting infected by COVID. That way, the borders remained open throughout the pandemic. And then the other way, you realize that when you visit our one-stop border posts, the building was designed in such a way that the first point of interaction with the border officials is through a health facility. Most of the OSBPs, all the OSBPs that we built, have as the first point of call, you have to be cleared by health. So in terms of pandemics, the Ministry of Health deployed its staff to work at the border points, to work using the infrastructure that we have already built there. So those facilities were equipped with most of the basic health infrastructure required, including isolation rooms. That if you're detected,
at least I've seen the isolation rooms.
If you're detected to be carrying COVID, for example, you would be isolated there, pending an ambulance from the nearest hospital taking you. So that's the other way. The other way is that we worked also with the EAC to be able to track drivers along the corridors. If you're tested at the point of entry, assume you are arriving from Juba and you did your COVID test at Elegu, they would allow you to move, but track you through the regional electronic and driver system through the transit route, such that once you tested positive, they would alert the nearest health unit along your route to quarantine you and treat you, or either treat you or repatriate you back to your country, as it was initially done. And for COVID, so that way so that's, I think, in summary how we worked with
the
government of Uganda
towards trade barriers.
Yes,
at least we've picked a point there where you join with
Yes,
government. You're not just working in Uganda, it's Trademark East Africa. You
Correct.
now have got DRC that has joined in.
Correct,
How are you
yeah.
going to incorporate DRC with your work, and what opportunities are there for people to embrace across these borders, not just to stay in line? I'm a Ugandan, okay, I have to be in Uganda. I'm Kenyan, I have to be in Kenya. How do we make sure we join hands and develop together?
So Trademark has offices much more than in East Africa. The DRC, I think we've had an office for the last 3 years in the DRC, in anticipation that the DRC, first of all, is the biggest, I think, is among the biggest trading partners to its neighbors in the EAC, to Uganda, to Rwanda, to Burundi, and to Tanzania, including Kenya. So the DRC is among the biggest. So because the DRC is so important to East Africa, we have an office already there at the DRC. Beyond that, we also have offices in the Horn of Africa, in Djibouti, in Somalia, in Ethiopia, and Southern Africa, our neighbors of Mozambique, Malawi, and Zambia as well. So I think we've expanded, and soon we'll also be expanding into West Africa. But importantly, what are the opportunities that we have? So the DRC, in the first place, brings with us a bigger population of adds the population of about 94 million people onto
East
the
African
EAC.
community.
Yes, and the DRC being, apart from the population, adding that comes with its benefit, in that you can have people to sell your goods to as a block. Also, importantly, it's also a net importer. So we export more into the DRC than we import. from the So that population provides now market into it. But also, we have to take advantage of what government of Uganda has done for the DRC. The peace in Eastern DRC allows us to trade. The roads that government of Uganda is doing in Eastern DRC allows the movement of goods and people. So once trade builds up, so peace is going to be sustainable in the region. So that is and also we have to factor in the political goodwill, in that the political heads, the presence of Uganda and the presence of the DRC are in good talking terms. So that builds up trade for
and good relations
between
the countries.
Between the two countries, between Uganda and the DRC, and so is it between the DRC and Rwanda, and the DRC and Tanzania, the DRC and Burundi as well. But the DRC, I think, in a nutshell, offers a vast opportunity for trade with East Africa.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ajatum, for joining us. It's been a pleasure for giving us your time. And we were speaking about the hopes that are coming up from the Northern Corridor with the Gulu Logistics Hub. Not only that, now we've got the DRC on board to the East African community. Mr. Ajatum was highlighting for us how importantly as a country we're going to be benefiting there. Thank you for being part of our discussion. Till next time. Very well, that is Michael Ojatum, the manager at One Stop Border Post from Trademark East Africa, highlighting the progress of the Gulu Logistics Hub. I can say further not talk more about that. In case you missed the conversation very well, you're going to follow it up at Smart24 TV on YouTube and Facebook there. But the major pickouts were that this logistics hub is going to be the entry point vis-a-vis the transmission point, whereby a lot of trade activities are going to be held within that particular one. And one thing you shouldn't miss out is that the hub, the land that is sitting on, or the land from which it is sitting on, is provided by Uganda Railway Corporation and the government of Uganda. For more on this, please do follow the conversation around there. We take a break. We return with Business in Sport with Joram Paul Sonko.